This is the 1206 AM, a member of the kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Join us as we uncover the stories behind every game-changing moment with Bill Velasco. Get ready to dive into the heart of sports because it's time for your favorite sports step into the spotlight.
Isang napakagandang umaga po sa inyo lahat, teammates. Ito po ang Hardball with Bill Velasco. Ang oras po natin, 11:01. Ngayon po ay Miyerkules, August 26, 2026.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Saya po yung mga talent na nakapag-sweldo kahapon. Yay! At mamaya hahalungkatin natin muli ang issue ng UAAP at ng Ateneo de Manila Blue Eagles. At pag-uusapan namin yan ni Naveen Ganglani, isang kilalang basketball vlogger. At mahaba-habang kwentuhan yan dahil napaka-masalimuot po ng isyung iyon.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At gusto ko na hong ibunyag ngayong araw na babalik po ang ating international award-winning sports documentary series na Masters of the Game na nanalo po ng isang Content Asia Award noong isang taon sa Taiwan at nanalo rin ng mga lokal na award dito sa ating bansa at exclusive for the first time in how many years, no? Nakapanayam natin para sa episode 1 si Abet Gidaben, two-time PBA Most Valuable Player na sana ay magiging three-time Most Valuable Player siya kung hindi siya na-trade sa kalagitnaan ng season na iyon. Malalaman niyo yan simula sa September 5 every Saturday with a replay on Sunday sa IBC 13. Dadagdagan po natin ang mga detalyeng yan sa mga susunod na araw.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Pero syempre, bago tayo magpatuloy, sundan kami sa aming mga social media accounts. Unang-una sa lahat, syempre sa Facebook, D1 1206 AM. Aray. Sa YouTube, at D1.1206 AM. Sa X, D1 1206 AM _ sa Instagram at D1 1206 AM at sa TikTok at D1 1206 AM.
Let's get ready to rumble!
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Diretso na tayo sa ating mga ulat pampalakasan para sa umagang ito. Natalo si Alex Ayala at ang kanyang mixed doubles partner na si Felix Ogur-Arias sa round of 16 ng US Open. Nahulog ang pares sa mas eksperyensado at mag-asawang Elina Svitolina at Gael Monfils 4-1, 4-1. Ito ang unang tambalan ni Ayala at Ogur-Arias. Sunod dito, kakaharapin ng world number 18 si Iva Jovic sa exhibition match na Stars of the Open.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Ninulubos po talaga ng mga organizers ng US Open itong mga bagong sikat na mga manlalaro tulad ni Ayala at ni Jovic. At dati naman wala pong mga ganyang mga exhibition game, yung mga mixed doubles po minsan sinasabay pa doon sa actual na torneo. Pero ngayon, inuna na po nila at syempre sinabak kagad yung mga pinakasikat na player para kung ma-eliminate man sila, ay makaka-focus na sila sa singles. At yun po importante ngayon para kay Alex because she was a US Open Junior Champion at 4 years later, here she is back in the seniors edition of the US Open, and we wish her the very best.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Sa kaugnay na balita, maglalaro si world number 18 tennis player Alex Ayala sa Asian Games sa Aichi at Nagoya, Japan. Kinumpirma ni Philippine Tennis Association Secretary General at Navotas Mayor John Ray Tiangco na lalahok ang Women's Tennis Association star sa quadrennial event. Kasalukuyan naglalaro si Ayala sa US Open at pagkatapos noon ay tutungo sa Asia para sa Singapore Open. Magsisimula ang Asian Games tennis competition sa September 27 na siyang huling araw ng Singapore Open.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Kung sa akin po, maaring hintayin natin na si Alex mismo ang magpahayag niyan, no? Kung meron man, dahil hindi natin alam kung anong nangyayari dahil napaka-aktibo niya and she's competing. No? So, kung sakaling mag-champion siya sa Singapore Open, magkakasabay, no? May konting overlap ang Singapore Open at ang Asian Games. Tignan natin kung hindi magiging issue po yung scheduling, no? Pero madali na biyahe para sa kanya kasi Singapore tsaka Japan ilang oras lang yan by plane, at the same time halos pareho naman ang oras. So mas madali yung kaysa yung manggagaling siya sa Amerika at may konti siyang pahinga bago siya sumabak sa Singapore Open. So she's going to be very busy at after the Singapore Open may 6 pa siyang ibang tournament na sasalihan gaya ng ating sinulat, no, nung isang linggo. So she's going to be very very active up to about November already at tingnan natin kung itutuloy nga niya itong paglalaro sa Asian Games dahil syempre hahabulin din niya ng gintong medalya. Pero syempre, ang priority pa rin ay ang kanyang professional career.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Ito, nakakayanig na balita mula sa football. Boboykotin ng mga European football team ang 2030 FIFA World Cup. Nagkaisa ang lahat ng 55 miyembro ng UEFA na huwag lumahok sa Men's at Women's World Cup bilang protesta laban sa planong ibenta ang torneo. Inanunsyo ni FIFA President Gianni Infantino na ibebenta ang shares ng World Cup sa mga investor para makalikom ng karagdagang salapi. Pumalag ang mga European members at sinabing magiging commercial masyado ang World Cup at hindi na magiging purong sporting competition lamang. Dagdag pa riyan, sumama sa boycott ang North at South America at Asia na nagsabing ang planong ito ay paglabag sa tiwala ng mga asosasyon sa FIFA.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Hindi ko po maisip kung bakit pa kailangan magpayaman pa ng FIFA dahil naulat din naman natin dito na nung katatapos lamang na World Cup, bilyon-bilyon ang kinita ng FIFA at halos malunod na sila sa pera samantalang yung mga teams na kalahok hanggang tens of millions lang ang kanilang napala doon sa mismong World Cup at sila naman yung naglaro, no? So itong si Gianni Infantino po talaga money maker po talaga yan. Gusto niya, pinag-usapan natin nung isang araw, gusto niya magkaroon ng World Cup na under 15 edition, boys and girls, tapos ang lalahok lahat ng miyembro ng FIFA na mahigit 200, about 211 members. So halata naman pong money grab yan kung tawagin, parang gagawa lang ng event para magkapera. Hindi pa ba sapat yung kinikita nilang bilyon-bilyong dolyar at yung mga nakukuha nilang sponsorships na sa FIFA naman napupunta, hindi naman sa mga teams. So sa akin, pag binenta mo to, magbabago na ang kulay ng World Cup dahil kung sabihin ng investor, kailangan lahat ng player, lahat ng team suot yung logo ng negosyo ko. O kaya bawat commercial na ipalabas, o kaya yung football field kailangan tadtarin ng branding ko, hindi siyempre papangit na po ang World Cup. Kung ang Olympics nga po, bawal ang sponsor sa loob ng venue. Yung FIFA World Cup, meron naman. Pero sa damit ng mga players, sa uniforme nila, dalawa lang. No? Yung logo ng main sponsor nila at yung logo ng kanilang uniform sponsor. Pero pag nagkaganito, madidiktahan na po ng mga investor ang FIFA at hindi po yun maganda para sa mga member teams dahil mapipilitan silang sumunod kahit ayaw nila.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At isa pa nakakatuwang balita, si Alex Ayala na, global sports star na nasa salarawan sa tanyag na tenement court sa Taguig. Sa social media post ng rapper na si Mike Swift, pinakita na ang world number 18 tennis player na ang pinaparangalan ng isang sports brand sa kilalang basketball court. Nasama si Ayala sa hanay ng mga NBA legend tulad ni Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant at iba pa. Siya ay kasalukuyang lumalaban sa US Open at tinatangkang makuha ang kanyang unang Grand Slam championship.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Kailangan po talagang makunan yun ang litrato ito dahil every couple of months po ay natatabunan na yan ng iba. No? It's good exposure, it's good advertising. Pero isipin din natin na malaki po ang sinisingil ng tenement court sa mga gustong maglagay ng kanilang artwork dun sa mismong flooring ng cement court nila. No? At sumikat yan noong araw pa na ilang taon nang nakalipas dahil po yung basketball court na yan ay pinaliliguran ng 5-story na tenement building. Kaya maganda pong makunan ng litrato, makunan ng drone shots at maging ang Harlem Globetrotters ay nag-set ng isang world record doon na nagsumot sila ng bola mula sa pinakamataas na palapag ng building. So it's very recognized around the world, no? Kilala siya kahit saan kayo magpunta basta pagdating sa usapang basketball. Ito naman siya ang unang-unang tennis player, no? Si Alex Ayala ang unang-unang tennis player na naging na nasa larawan na nung court na yon. Pero bilisan natin dahil hindi natin malaman sa susunod na buwan o bago magpasko, iba na naman ang mailalagay doon dahil siyempre sayang yung ibabayad nila sa grupo sa tenement court.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Sasabak ang Pilipinas sa Pickleball World Cup. Sinabi ni Philippine Pickleball Federation President Shawi Koo na maraming magugulat sa 70 bansang kasali sa patimpalak na magsisimula sa August 30 sa Da Nang, Vietnam. 30 manlalaro ang ilalaban ng bansa sa World Cup. At pasok ang ating mga manlalaro sa Open, Kids, Seniors, Under 14 at Under 18 divisions na nakaakit ng mahigit 4,000 kalahok. Ang pickleball ang pinakamabilis na lumagong sport sa mundo sa kasalukuyan.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At totoo po yan, no? Inulat din natin last week na ayon sa SIA Stats, ang Pilipinas po ang fastest growing pickleball market sa buong mundo. Mahigit 1,000% ang inilaki nito just in the last 12 months. No, ibig sabihin kung last year 1,000 ang court, ngayon times 10 na. No, ganun kabilis po at marami tayong kaibigan na nahuhumaling diyan dahil napakadali po maglaro. Huwag lang kayong ma-addict sa pangongolekta ng racket at dahil doon mapapagastos kayo. But it's a fun sport. You're building a community, no? Maganda yung samahan ng mga naglalaro ng pickleball. At ang kagandahan dyan, kahit sino pwedeng maglaro ng pickleball.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Sa pagpapatuloy ng ating programa, ang talakayan tungkol sa desisyon ng UAAP na pasalihin ang Ateneo de Manila Blue Eagles sa susunod na UAAP season. Abangan nyo yan sa pagpapatuloy ng
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
The hardest part of my job, I'd say, as a native English speaker who was born and raised in the US, learning and trying to say Filipino words aloud is always a challenge, but it's a fun one and I can't complain. I have a lot of good people like my co-anchor to help me.
I guess scheduling, because it's very hard to keep a schedule as a journalist because we're thrust in different situations at different times and you just have to be ready for everything. You have to work around your work schedule, so there are no real holidays. And I think that's a commitment that you have to make because at the end of the day, it's public service before anything else.
Handa na ba kayong makitambay? Samahan sina Charlie Manalo, Danny Lagman, kasama ang mga espesyal na panauhin na may dalang inspirasyon, impormasyon at kwentong swak sa bawat kabarangay mula sa Bagitang Campus, Scholar Kwento hanggang sa usaping kabuhayan, teknolohiya at serbisyo publiko. Lahat nandito na sa Barangay 13. Makialam, makiisa at makitambay. Tuwing Lunes, Miyerkules at Biyernes, 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Dito sa D1 1206 AM.
Bill, once again on the podcast. I believe this is the third time in the last few months. How are you doing? Thanks for being here.
I'm good. Trying to stay out of trouble, but you know how hard that is.
Definitely. And you know what? I'd like to say that for us sports journalists / sports media personnel, we don't go looking for trouble. Trouble just finds us. Okay, gentlemen, we'll get right to it. On Friday, the UAAP made some key announcements. Baldwin has been banned from the UAAP. The assistant coaches with him at the Ateneo Aurora camp that unfortunately led to the loss of 2 lives of 2 players have also been banned, but with appeals. Same for team manager Epo Quimpo. But the key here that has really gotten a lot of people talking is that Ateneo is eligible for UAAP Season 89. Now, there are different layers to this. It's a very nuanced discussion. So I know that no matter what we say on this podcast over the next half hour or so, there are going to be people unhappy with it. It's going to be there are going to be different thoughts and feelings and sentiments, and it's a very emotional issue. So we understand that, but we need to remember as much as possible to keep a rational perspective about this. So Bill, I'll get to you first here. When you saw that the UAAP made the announcement, what was your immediate reaction, and do you feel that they made the right choice not suspending the blue and white?
I think it was the only decision that they could have made because if you suspend Ateneo, you're being punitive to people who already suffered a loss, you know, on one side of it. You know? So who are you punishing Ateneo for? And how will it be reformative? How will it give them a chance to reorganize, change the system? And what happens to all of those players? And, you know, it might domino all the way down to the other sports. The second thing is, it was an economical decision also because without Ateneo, there'd be a lot of advertisers and sponsors, and not to mention spectators, who might not patronize the UAAP because Ateneo brings a lot of competitiveness and a little bit of glamour, with all due respect to the other schools. And of course, Ateneo has had a winning culture in the last decade or so. And I think the third thing also is that the other schools want to play against Ateneo. I don't see them, one, being scared of Ateneo given what's happened, and two, without Ateneo there will always be an asterisk. You know, it's going to be like a bubble championship that you know, there were extenuating circumstances that, you know, didn't make it a complete season. So now, all things being said, tabula rasa, blank slate now, Ateneo will get to play.
Bill, so just quickly here, 2006, UST's last UAP Men's Basketball Championship. Does that have an asterisk as well? Because LaSalle was suspended?
Yeah, I would think so. I think anytime one of the leading competitors is not there, you can add an asterisk to it. But in that case, LaSalle sort of did it to themselves, even though they did come forward with it. No, it's after the fact that it had already been done, and every time you taint one game, every game that that player was involved in already gets contaminated. So it was good that they came forward, but it wasn't so good that they did it in the first place.
Just to quickly note, one more thing I learned when I did my extra layers of reporting was before the decision was made, I kept hearing a lot of, okay, the UAP is going to rely a lot on Ched here. Like what report Ched decides, what they ultimately deem is the best repercussions here. The UAP is going to rely on that. But at least what I was told the day after the UAP made the decision was the UAP went ahead and made their choice without leaning on what Ched had to say because they were still waiting on what report Ched wanted to provide. And the two reasons why, at least from what I heard, again, is one, the U16 basketball tournament is going to start very soon of the UAP basketball division, and they need to know if Ateneo is going to be a part of that or not. And second, a lot of the Ateneo student athletes, and again, we're not just talking about basketball here, I'll get back to that later, but that's a very important point. They've been enrolled for the next semester already. So the UAP couldn't really afford to wait. The season is going to start in give or take about a month. They went ahead and made their choice, and I applaud them for doing that. I thought that being patient and not rushing into the decision when there was such a public outcry, a lot of it unfair, calling for them to be accountable, I thought that them not rushing into it and taking their time and trying to gather all the information possible is a salute to them. So, Bill, let's go to Tab Baldo now. Banned from the UAAP, I think that's 100% the right decision. I feel that Tab, more than anyone else really, has to be held accountable here. And that's because, at least from what I've heard, he has always been the guy who has really been the one who has pushed for this Aurora training camp. How about you? What do you think of what the UAAP has decided to do for Tab in terms of him not being able to be there anymore?
Well, if you remember, no, Navs, Gab, when this all happened, there were suddenly 8 different bodies, investigating. No, PSC, CHED, PNP, Ateneo itself, UAAP, and others. No? And all of a sudden, the others sort of just melted away, and they left it mainly to the authorities. So the UAAP has made its decision based on its jurisdiction. And its jurisdiction basically covers UAAP events, UAAP tournaments, eligibility, and following the rules of the association. And it's a stretch to say that that would cover preparations for the season, as the Aurora tragedy was. Now, with regards to your question about Tab Baldwin, I think he should really be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, because everything points to the fact that he knew that there was something that could have happened. It almost happened a couple of times in the past. He didn't listen to other people, and basically he was dictating what the team would do. And far be it from me to add personal anecdotes, pero binastos din ako niyan, during the FIBA World Cup. And he had this swagger that he walked around with, and unfortunately, it was patronized by some members of the Ateneo community, particularly in sports, particularly in basketball. So that is no longer the jurisdiction of the UAAP. That's a jurisdiction of PNPC IDG. They recommended that charges have be filed, but we haven't heard of any charges being filed yet. So I'm sure there's some backroom dealings or negotiation going on. Maybe a lesser evil would be to, kick him out of the country, declare him persona non grata. But then that does not solve anything. Does not bring justice to the families of the 2 players who died. It does not make him accountable for what is essentially a pair of crimes, at least a pair of crimes here in the country. And at the end of the day, what will change? I think honestly, cases should be filed already. Let's see how fast the wheels of justice grind when the spotlight is no longer there.
That's a very good point. I mean, it's easy to be motivated to make those wheels work when everyone is on your head trying to get a result. But once things die down a little bit and other stuff's happening, do you keep the same mindset? Do you keep the same determination to do what's right? A lot of the public reception and the initial reactions after this news bit came out of Ateneo not being suspended was anger. Some were apparently devastated, saddened. The saddened, I get that. And basically saying, oh, the UAAP failed, the UAAP is not accountable, bayad yung UAAP niyan, pera-pera lang yan. Which makes me think about this, and I want people to really reflect on this. Those who were calling for Ateneo to be suspended, to not play this season, you realize when you suspend the school, more likely than not, if the basketball team is suspended, then all the other sports are going to be suspended too. Now, that's not like written in fine print in a rule book somewhere, but if Ateneo would voluntarily not participate in the UAAP or not be part of the season, most likely the other athletes in the other sports wouldn't have gotten to participate too. And even if it's just the basketball team, these guys, half of them nearly drowned and died. And they want to honor their teammates by playing. They found solace and a safety net by playing basketball, by coming together as a team. And are we just supposed to take that away from them? And that's not even getting to the inner layers of all of this. And that's where the other athletes and other sports come in. You take away playing, even for one season, you might be taking away scholarships. You might be taking away allowances from sponsorships that these athletes use to feed their families or provide for their families. You might be taking away pro options. Hey, Ian Espinosa, we're sorry you almost died. We're sorry you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But, you know, your collateral damage, you won't get to play this season. Sorry about your career. Like, what? Are we going to accept that? So, you have a lot of people complaining, oh, you know, Ateneo, this doesn't show that they're thinking about the welfare of the athletes. Now, if you want to talk about an isolated incident, just the Aurora drowning, absolutely, you can make that point. But by saying that the UAAP not suspending Ateneo shows that the UAAP doesn't care about their athletes, that is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Like, okay, what are we just gonna accept? The end justifies the means. You're complaining that Ateneo should be suspended because they didn't care about the welfare of their student athletes. But when it comes to the welfare of the other student athletes who survived or the other sports, their collateral damage. That's just what it is. Yeah, that's just what happened. I mean, they just have to deal with it. That is so dumb. That is so dumb and ignorant. Like, Bill, am I wrong here? Am I being a little too crazy about this?
Well, remember what I told you last time. You know, the Filipinos are probably not mature enough to handle social media. You know, we have a bandwagon gang mentality. You can see it in the way they're talking about Alex Ayala. No, she's fantastic, creates history wherever she goes. But I would not put her in the same league as Manny Pacquiao or Efren Reyes or even, you know, Lydia De Vega who conquered Asia. But, you know, people are like that. They like to jump ahead. They want to jump to conclusions. They want to be judge, jury, and executioner. So for me, it's okay to have an opinion. It's great. It's okay to share your opinion. But can you back it up? All right, you call out for justice, for, you know, flood control project hearings and following due process, but when the decision comes out, you question it, and that for me is honestly, sadly, such a Filipino thing. You know, if I disagree with the decision of whatever authority or whatever organization, I will call another EDSA revolution, or I will, you know, call a strike, a boycott, whatever, just because I did not get what I wanted. Now, the UAP followed the process. Ateneo stepped back and even asked for an extension while they conducted their own investigation. The UAP said initially, July 15, then July 24, and then they were quiet, and then they finally came up with the decision. So that means they really went through the due process. And for me, that's more than enough. Okay, why will you suspend Ateneo? Kasi galit ka. Hindi ganun ba? So parang sinabi mo na, hindi, galit ako sa Ateneo. Galit ako dahil namatay yung dalawang bata. You don't know these people. You know, and who are you going to condemn? Ateneo, the university, the Ateneo Athletics Department, the Ateneo basketball team, or just those people who had command responsibility of the situation? Remember, I also said, let's narrow our focus. Let's not fix blame, but let's affix responsibility. Okay? Sino yung boss dyan? Sino yung hari dyan? Si Tom Baldwin. Okay? Okay, and maybe the reason that the assistant coaches will be able to appeal is because they were following orders. They would also lose the jobs that help feed their families. They will also lose career opportunities. They will lose the chance to learn and be a competitive at a high level of a competitive atmosphere. So for me, tama yung desisyon, tapos na yan, let's move forward.
It's so surreal to see people being so angry online and wanting their anger justified or validated, even if that comes at the cost of the livelihoods and the opportunities of other people. I don't care how angry you are on social media. I don't care how affected you were by what happened. Unless you are a family relative of those who passed away or a very close friend, you probably don't feel the same hurt that their teammates are feeling right now dealing with survivor's guilt. Like, I'm angry. When I found out about the news, the first thing I did in my mind was imagine, okay, what if that's my kid? I would feel something that I can't even put into words. But then I also put myself in the shoes of their teammates, the other athletes, and I'm thinking to myself, imagine what they're feeling. Imagine being the boys who saw your friends' bodies there in the water and how traumatic that's gonna be and how you're gonna keep that with yourself for the rest of your lives. And to those people saying, si Kiefer, sinadya niyang patayin si Rene, or si Kiefer, ginawa niya to, and all the hate Kiefer Alas is getting, that has to be the most sad thing I've seen online in probably ever since I started using social media. You're honestly gonna accuse Kiefer of doing that? Like, are you guys just being trolls? Do you guys have any common sense? Where do your minds go to think that Kiefer would do something like that? He would not do something like that. If you ask Kiefer right now, he would say that he wants his teammates with him here right now. He wants his brothers with him here right now. And again, and I saw a comment right now saying that, people are not being ignorant or questioning the morality of the decision. They died under the care of their respected institution. Yeah, I get that. And I agree with that. If you're gonna tell me Ateneo needs to be suspended 1 year because this happened, because people died under their care, okay, fine. But before you make that decision, you show me what is the plan to take care of the other student athletes, to take care of the other basketball players. How will they be compensated? How will they be taken care of for what they lost as collateral damage? And if you just brush aside that question and say, bahala na, what happened, they just have to deal with it, then I'm sorry, I am not accepting your answer or your reasoning. When someone passes away, we say, rest in peace, right? And I want to be very careful about what I say next, because I know it's a sensitive topic. But given some of the social media outcry, given that some users, most of them trolls, have used the unfortunate passings of these two student athletes as a political weapon for their own opinions and thoughts, can we say that at this point, these two guys are actually getting to rest in peace? Or is the constant noise, particularly from those who do it in an aggressive and threatening violence kind of way, are they actually getting to rest in peace?
Well, I wouldn't know definitively if they're able to rest in peace, but a lot of it has to do with letting go, most especially from the family side. I mean, if you feel that there's still some justice to be had, then sure, go ahead, ask for it and fight for it. But I think the players who died, Divine Adili and Baterbonia, Rene Claude Baterbonia, are at peace with where they are. I'm sure that it was not an easy transition simply because of how it happened. But there are a lot of people who've prayed for them. There are a lot of people who have helped out the family. So I think if the family has already been able to make peace with it, then okay. But I think we should also be very concerned with the living, all right? The families, what will satisfy them, what will help the other players, move on, move forward. And I think basketball will be a big part of that. I've spoken to Louis Alas a couple of times. I've spoken to members of the coaching staff like RJ Hazul, because I'm in Blue Alley practically every day when I fetch my daughter. So I see these guys after practice. They've been doing two-a-days. They've been, Kiefer Alas has been doing his own practices. He lives just outside the campus. So they are trying to address their own personal psychological struggles as well. I think basketball will be very therapeutic for them, but it will also draw a line between those who are ready to move forward and those who will be constantly reminded of what happened when they play basketball. So that is something that we also have to look out for, in my opinion.
That's a good point. And that's a good segue now to our next topic, which is to look at what does season 89 realistically look for the Ateneo Blue Eagles. So just some background information based on reporting I've done. Coach Louis Alas is head coach. Nico Salva, the 5-time champion at Ateneo, is team manager. They're currently, if I'm not mistaken, signed to 1-year contracts, which is kind of like the quick temporary solution the team decided to do. They didn't negotiate or demand for longer contracts. They just want to help the team out. RJ Azul, Kirby Raimundo, part of the coaching staff of Alas. He's worked with them from back in the day at Letran. I believe back on Austria, might eventually get to join the team as well. They've had some tune-up games. The Team B, with some Team A players, had a tune-up game against Gilas Youth recently. There are some tune-up games planned against Letran and Perpetual, some NCAA squads. Ateneo is scheduled to play in Pinoy Liga Big Dance Tournament this upcoming weekend. It is going to be their first major tournament since the incident happened. Kiefer Alas. Now, there were rumors about this once all of transfer to another school. And there were feelers, trust me, there were other schools who reached out based on what I have heard. But Kiefer, even if Ateneo had been suspended and wouldn't have gotten to play this season, would have opted instead to go overseas and train there and come back when Ateneo would have been allowed to play again. The FSA spot, and I hate to do this, but it is basketball related right now, they are going to go with one FSA. And I believe that is Sultan. And I have been told that the other FSA spot, because remember, UAAP will now allow 2 FSA spots this year, they're going to leave blank to honor Divine Adili. So, with everything that has transpired, with the trauma that has taken place, with the questions, and I heard this from a friend of mine who is in Ateneo, this question was brought to me. When the Ateneans say win or lose, it's the school we choose. How much of that are we actually going to see this season? Will the community rally behind this team? Or like Bill said, will some members of the community themselves be the ones to remind this team of what they lost and what had transpired? Bill, before I get to you here, something I want to share. I got to speak to one of the players of the team. He requested to stay anonymous. But what he said to me was this: the team is healing very well. Everyone is getting back there, if not almost fully healed. In a way, this has brought us closer than any of us could have imagined. We have completely bought into the Louis Alas system and are fully prepared to go out there and show our best with no excuses. I can assure you this team is ready to compete despite the noise and poised to make a deep run, if not a championship. We are ready. We are hungry. So far, what I've heard about the Coach Louis Alas system is it's going to incorporate a lot of the core principles that they have been working with before the incident. But Coach Louis is going to add some innovation and some defensive principles to what he's trying to run. All the guys are back, including the field foreigners who went abroad, the provincial guys who went out of town. They're back and they're ready to compete. So, Bill, do you feel that what has happened will actually spark Ateneo into a competitive showing? Or are you anxious that what had transpired might lead, and the off-court noise that will inevitably take place, would that be a reason that they might crash?
Well, we have to remember that the veterans of the team are used to playing with animosity. If they play against LaSalle, they play against UP, UST. These schools have, very, very vigorous crowds who will always get on your case in a friendly way, just to make sure they're able to rattle your cage a little bit. Now, I've known Louis Alas for, gosh, more than 30 years already, and one thing I know, he's very compassionate. Two, he's very good at building community with his teams. And three, he is not going to compromise when it comes to defense, when it comes to giving up the basketball, and when it comes to having your head in the game. So if he is able to just keep this team functioning at a high level, I will be happy. If they lose a lot of close games, for me, that would be good enough. If they make the Final Four, that's already a bonus, because, this is a breakthrough for them if they're able to perform well together. I think it's already a breakthrough that they're able to, go through practice twice a day, although he did tell me that they were not as intense as they normally would be. But I think for the most part, if you're a highly intelligent person, you know how to reason with your emotions. You know how to be able to say, okay, I will grieve, but only for this long. I will work my way through my pain, and we will talk about it. We will get support. And at the end of the day, they will be able to function again. Now, in the long run, this will make them a much stronger team. But immediately in the coming season, maybe not yet, because they are still in the emotional recovery stage.
I want to go to Tab Baldwin here because it ended really bad. I don't think we can sugarcoat it. While the peak was happening, Ateneo basketball was the standard of what championship hoops was in the UAAP. With Tab at the helm, Ateneo won 4 championships, made 2 more finals appearances, and had a lot of great seasons, including an undefeated season that will probably live in the history books for quite a while. If not, it might be the only undefeated season in the Final Four era, other than, I believe, UST went undefeated at the start of the Final Four. The way it ended for Coach Tab, for you as an Atenean, does it tarnish the celebrations and the championship moments over the years?
Yeah, personally, my thought is, why did he cheat? He didn't cheat, no. And like in a lot of sports performances, you don't know what goes into it. You don't know the preparation. You don't know the difficulties. And the main issue here was what he put the players through to get championships. And he traumatized these players. He treated a lot of them as, men who would have been 4 or 5 years older than they were. And I think that was very unreasonable, and that was unfair to the players themselves. And to put them in that kind of a situation, I think is kind of arrogant and a little soulless, if you ask me. So, but with regards to the results, you cannot question the results. And as Gab said, the results are a combined effort of the system, the coaches, and the players, and the support of the community. So why would you give it back? It's like when Sonny Alvarado suddenly left the country and he was already part of the PBA's Mythical Five. Are you going to erase that and put somebody else? You can't. It's already done. Okay, it's already in the record books and it's finished. Okay, it's fait accompli. It's what happened that season. They won fair and square. Why would we go back and change history?
Bill, you said that you've known Louis for more than 3 decades, so you're more familiar with him than any of us. By the way, more than 3 decades, you've probably known him longer than I've been alive. Sorry, Bill, I just had to mention that.
Yes, you had to go there. Ikaw talaga.
So, there's been criticism that, so what happens. Kiefer almost drowned, and there have been stories about he was one of those who people feared would also pass on because of how long he was underwater. And then suddenly Coach Louis is the head coach. And, social media users, given their nature, have tried to connect point A to point B and say that Louis is the head coach as a way for Ateneo to say sorry for what happened to Kiefer. I just want to point out now that personally, I don't think that's true. Louis already seemed like the go-to assistant consultant even last season, even before this incident happened. And if Louis Louis is head coach and he became head coach not because they wanted to keep Kiefer, not because they were trying to make up for how Kiefer almost drowned, but because he was the guy who was most equipped for the job. He's a veteran head coach. This is going to be a very unusual and out of the ordinary season for Ateneo, and it makes sense to have a veteran leading them. Do you agree with me there, Bill?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge disservice to Louis Alas to say that all of these are compromises. First of all, he was a very tough player, and if he hadn't hurt both of his knees, he would have had a very long career in the pros. And secondly, he was a champion coach in the NBA. He was successful in the PBA. He was very successful in the NCAA. He coached Letran teams that won despite lacking talent, having injuries, being undersized. 2005, he won with Boyd Bautista, Aaron Aban, and Mark Andaya. They were always performing very well. So I think it's unfair. Secondly, as you pointed out, he's the most capable and most experienced coach on the bench. He's coached at every level, college, pros, PBA, and even was with Alaska for quite a spell. So for you to question that and say kasi anak niya si Kiefer, ganyan. No, Kiefer was going to be the cornerstone of this team, period, whether or not his father was there. But, it's no surprise that his father's there because his dad from day one, from the time he could walk, was guiding his career. And he's done everything right to develop this young man. And I think it will also be very good for moral support to have your dad on the bench and leading the team, because he will sort of be the barometer of this team, because even though he's just going to be a rookie, he's got a lot more responsibility than most rookies are usually given. And a lot of leadership is expected from him. And I know Coach Louis, when he's on the court, he's all business. Walang anak-anak. Sabi nga nila, walang kamag-anak dyan pagdating sa trabaho. And he knows his job very, very well. And he is a great motivator. And if you don't play defense, no matter who you are, you're going to sit on the bench.
Absolutely. And when Coach Louis is at the arena watching the games, his focus is a different level. Fully focused, no distractions. He could see some of his closest friends that he knows, but he will not talk to them until the game is done because he's fully focused in that game. That's the kind of coach that he is. All right, let's close with this. First of all, I don't think we're going to do another episode about the incident unless something new and breaking takes place. So we're going to try to close the book, at least for now, on this, which is why I want to say our prayers and blessings and well wishes to the families of Divine Adili and Rene Batarbonia, because ultimately their families lost people that they love. And there is nothing that could make up for that. There is nothing that could ever replace that. And I wish that their souls get to rest in peace. Second, I am happy that the players will get to play. Now, if that makes people angry at what I have to say because they feel Ateneo should be suspended no matter the consequence, I'm sorry, I just cannot. Actually, I'm not even sorry. I just cannot agree with you, because I don't accept the players being collateral damage and having to lose what they've worked their whole lives for just because they were victims at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's not that simple for me. What are your final thoughts on everything that's happened and your final message for the Ateneo community? What do you hope to see in season 89?
I think, let's move forward. Kung galit kayo sa mundo, huwag niyong ibuhos sa mga player ng Ateneo. Let's focus, focus our outrage on who was responsible. He's already out of the picture. The assistant coaches will appeal, I'm sure, because, it's their honor and their livelihood at stake. But our focus should really be on the players. This is their the step in their career, the next step in their career. They're also studying very hard because, you know, some of these department chairs are my classmates. So I know that these players study and have to pass their subjects. So let's back them up. Let's show up for the games. Let's not be negative. Let's be supportive. You know, sabi nga, win or lose, it's the school we choose. Let's set an example. I think that the UAAP has given Ateneo the opportunity, no, the golden opportunity to really set an example of how to deal with adversity. And for me, that's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to benefit from.
All right, Bill, thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. To all our viewers who commented and watched live on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much as well.
Then to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Tuulitin ko po ang aking announcement kanina, no? Magbabalik na po sa telebisyon ang International Award-winning sports documentary series The Masters of the Game sa IBC 13. And that will be late afternoons on Saturday and Sunday, right after the Lotto draws beginning September 5. Okay po, lahat ng pinaka-makasaysayan at pinaka-mahuhusay na atleta sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa ay makikita nyo po doon. Yung original run po niyan was in 2024 sa iba pang network at nagwagi siya last year ng 4 na award, no? Isa po sa Content Asia Bronze Award for Best Sports Magazine Show sa Taiwan at nanalo din siya ng mga award para sa mga kabataan at nanalo pa siya ng 2 pang ibang local awards. So maraming salamat po sa inyong pagtangkilik at sana tuloy-tuloy rin ang pagsuporta ninyo sa atin at sa mga atletang Pilipino na nagsusumikap para masundan ang kanilang passion, no? At mabigyan ng karangalan ng Pilipinas at ang kanilang mga iba-ibang koponan. So abangan nyo po yan, September 5. We will have the complete details. Our first episode, our premiere will be an exclusive interview with Abet Gidaben. Alam nyo po, si Abet mahigit 12 taon na pong hindi nagpapa-interview yan, pero pinaunlakan niya tayo, kaya nagpapasalamat tayo sa tiwala at maging sa mga kapanayam natin na kakampi at mga family members niya. At hindi lang po tayo hihinto doon, marami pa po tayong mga sports legends na makakapanayam sa ating programa, and we hope you look forward to that. And in the meantime po, we will also be reviving Basketball Universe PHL. Alam namin na nasabik kayo at nawala siya ng mga ilang buwan, pero ibabalik na po natin ang inyong paboritong All Basketball YouTube channel. Huwag niyo palalagpasin yan. At yan ang ating programa para sa araw na ito. Muli ang Hardball with Bill Velasco ay masusubaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 11 na umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Dito lang po yan sa D1 1206 AM. Ako si Bill Velasco. Magkita-kita po tayo muli bukas.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.